envision three female attorneys coming together to have our voices heard. Each of us would have different opinions, different passions, different backgrounds, and different views. Although we are different and unique, we are able to come together to discuss our experiences, navigating through the legal profession and this thing called life. Now, the vision has come alive, and we invite you each and every week to listen to us as we talk about what's trending in the news and our legal insight, tackle real-life issues that affect not only us as attorneys, but us as women of color. Disclaimer. This podcast is intended to provide entertainment and general information. The information provided and the views given are not intended to constitute legal advice and should not be relied upon as legal representation. All views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not represent the opinions of any entity whatsoever we are affiliated with now or will be affiliated with in the future. Hey guys, it's your girl Brandy, and welcome to another episode of No Further Questions. I hope everybody is having a good month so far and a good week. And let's go ahead and get started. This episode, we're talking about COVID vaccine in the workplace. But before we get started, let's introduce my co-host and our friend of the show that is back. Sam, go ahead and introduce yourself. Reintroduce yourself.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Sam. Drop the beat.
Boom,
What's
boom.
up, y'all? Never mind. We could tell somebody was not a beatbox lunchbox.
I wasn't. That was my thing growing up.
It's Sam phrase, y'all. Off task, off topic as always.
Taria.
Yeah.
Happy Monday. It's Taria. That's all I have.
And our guest, who has been a friend of the show, she's been on here a couple of times, and welcome back. Miss Abby, please reintroduce yourself to our audience.
Hey everyone, Abby Katoon, employment lawyer here in Houston at the firm of Reed Smith. That's good enough, right? Or do you want more?
So do you represent plaintiff or defense? Or petitioners or respondents? Or, whatever.
Represent employers. I'm a management side employment lawyer. So whenever companies are involved in disputes, I represent the company.
Abby represents the man.
I was just about to say she represents.
I almost said it.
because it pays good, right? The money's good.
Yes, and they have good cases too. They're not always wrong.
Yeah. The check's clear,
like
on
everyone
time.
thinks.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This is true.
Well, the reason for this episode is, of course, everybody's getting vaccinated. The world is starting to open up, around. Everybody knows here in Texas that we are 100% open and you don't have to wear a mask. So to each his own on that. However, companies are starting to open up as well, like businesses. For instance, my firm, for instance, I don't know when we're going back, but they're encouraging us to get vaccinated. Like, that's the goal. So we may go back in the fall, but it hasn't been determined. Taria, have you been going in the office or are you still working from home?
I'm going in the office probably majority of the time now. I kind of wish I would have taken more time at home, because the more I think you're in the office, the more people see you, the more they expect to see you. So now I am trying to mix it up a little bit more.
All right. Sam, are y'all in the office or are you working from home?
We're doing a blended of both. So we have 4 attorneys. One attorney is in there every day, and then we rotate. So the other 3 attorneys, we do like 3 days a week in office.
Okay. So pretty much it seems like it's a hybrid. Like, mine is my firm. We're not in the office. But we can have the option to go. Like, I'll probably go this week just to print some stuff out, but I can't stay all day. So it's like limited. So, but with Abby, are y'all in the office or?
We've been for a little while. If you want to come into the office, you have to get permission. So there's some people that have really been in the office all the time. I go in, like you said, to print. I went once to just use the, fast internet, but it wasn't better than being at home. And I just, I wanted the fridge more times than once. So I came back home. But right now we are working still from home. They've announced our plan to come back, and we'll be completely back by September.
Okay.
And until then, well, starting next month, I believe, they're starting this like flexible working schedule, and attorneys have flexibility throughout. And I think that maybe by July, we'll start to have some days where they're trying to get you to come in. So they'll provide lunch and try to, incentivize you coming to the office. And then by September, we're back 100%, although it's still up to you as an attorney, whether you come in 5 days a week or you come in 2, they expect you to use your discretion.
So then let me talk about that real quick. I know we have a run of the show, but I like what you said, though. You're saying that for your firm, the attorneys have the discretion to be flexible. What are they saying about the staff?
So they did, the staff is it's more difficult, but they also have a flexible work plan, but it'll depend on their positions and whether their positions can be done from home. Obviously, positions can be done from home because we've been doing it for a year plus. So they'll have increasing expectations to be in the office, but starting in June, they can do 1 day a week and then move up to 2 or 3 and then get there by the end in September, coming more often. But of course, if you're a secretary and you're working for people who really want you in the office and they're in the office, then it'll be less likely that you can stay at home, stay working from home. So it's kind of still fluid. It's more fluid for the attorneys though.
And Taria, with you, is the staff on the same schedule as y'all? Like, are they forced to come in per se, or is it just kind of fluid?
I think they get 1 day at home, and then the rest of the time they're in the office. And I think it's honestly being able to get in touch with your staff. And I think that is a problem that it shouldn't be a problem because we're all adults, right? But you'd be surprised in the legal field how often staff goes missing. And so if you're needing something and you need something filed, or, hey, did you download this? Hey, did you call the court? Oh, no, I didn't. I was at the doctor's office.
But did you tell somebody? I'm having that issue too.
So I think that's where they're coming from. And it's unfortunate that it has to be that way, but I think that's the reason it is that way. Or if people just don't have the means for the office space, I think that a lot of times we assume that because, we have something in our house or we have a space that's completely can be for an office and dedicated for an office, or we have a good home life, right? A lot of people don't have a good home life. And so their work life is kind of their escape from home, husbands, wives, children, dogs, in-laws, all people they've been trying to escape for years. And now COVID made them go home. Hence why the divorce rates are up.
That's a topic for another day. Yes, Sam, we are still employed.
Job security.
Your staff are they on a hybrid like y'all? Like,
girl, they in there all day, every day. Okay. Working away, churning away, churn.
Well, let's go ahead and go dive into it. So we have an article that we want to show from the Texas Lawyer. Employer COVID-19 vaccination mandates, yes or no. So basically, this is pretty much what our topic is today. And so we have our employment lawyer on the show, and we want to talk about that because now we want to basically employer versus the vaccine. And I guess where we want to go with this is we can just answer the question. Abby, in your employment experience working for the employer, is it required for me to get a vaccine to come back? If my employer makes me get the vaccine, is that required? Like, do I have the right to tell them no?
So it depends. Your employer, for the most part, can mandate that you take the vaccine before you come back to work. But of course, there are exceptions. So it's a matter of public health. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir about why your employer should be able to mandate you to have the vaccine before you come back. The whole reason we've been shut down for a year plus is because people can come into the office and spread it to everybody else. And so it's a public health risk. We don't want anyone to spread it to others or to come to work and get it. If they do, employers have potential for liability, and they don't want that. So it's been pretty clear, even before COVID, that employers can mandate vaccines. They can mandate the flu shot. Most don't, but they can. The EEOC released guidance recently that said the same thing, that employers can mandate the COVID vaccine, even under the emergency use authorization, if they'd like to. Now, the exceptions are two. If you have a disability and for those reasons you don't want to get the vaccine, or you shouldn't get the vaccine, or your doctor says that you shouldn't, etc., then you don't have to, and your employer cannot mandate it, or they can try, and you have to engage in the interactive process, and then you guys can come to a resolution on what you can do. The second one is a person who has an authentic religious belief that precludes them from taking the vaccine. So think Catholics who believe that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is not permitted under their religion. Then if they have that sincerely held belief, they can assert that to their employers, and their employer cannot mandate the vaccine. Now, it's interesting because I don't know which one it is. I thought it was the Johnson & Johnson that has that issue, and maybe not the mRNA vaccines. Moderna and Pfizer might be the other way around. But those are the two conditions where your employer really has to work with you and probably has to give you an accommodation.
But what if I tell my employer I'm not disabled and I don't have religion disbelief? I just don't want to take it. Like, period.
Yes.
I just don't want. What if I'm one of those people that have fallen to the category that I'm gonna get a third eye, or our little running joke we always say, if you took the COVID vaccine shot, you are entitled to compensation. So what if I'm that person that is just don't want to take it, but at the same time, I need my job?
Right. I think that we will increasingly see people like that. But if you don't have a disability, and you don't have a sincerely held religious belief, and your employer wants to mandate that you get the vaccine before they allow you to come back to work, and you can't do your job at home, and they won't allow you to do your job at home, then they are totally within their rights to just fire you. This is still an at-will employment state. If you don't want to come to work because, for whatever reason, you get to stay home. If I don't want you to come to work for this reason, then I get to tell you not to come. So that's kind of where we are with that. Of course, we don't actually recommend that employers do that because we think you can get there with incentives. So that's why a lot of employers are incentivizing you by giving you a day off. Not just to take the vaccine, but, like a floating holiday so that you can use it some other time. Or they're giving you, I don't know, a gym membership, or, some, it has to be nominal, but they give you some kind of benefit to incentivize you to take the vaccine. I think we all, when the vaccine was just coming out, we all had a little bit of hesitancy. And it's an emergency use authorized vaccine. It hurts. Me personally, I was out for a day. So it doesn't seem right to have to require someone to do that if they don't quite feel comfortable. And so most employers are not quite requiring it, but trying to, nudge you in that direction. But if they want to, they can. And I read an article about, I think it was Methodist Hospital. We can all on this Zoom understand why a nurse or a doctor or somebody who works in a medical facility should have to take the vaccine, right? They can get it from someone and die. They can give it to someone and they die. We go to the hospital not to get more sick. And so at least I can understand why the Methodist Hospital would require a person to get the vaccine if they're going to work there. And I think there's litigation about that currently. So we'll get another say at that one, but it makes sense to me.
Will you expound a little bit more on what it means to be in an at-will state, being that we're in Texas?
Yeah. So in Texas, if our employment relationship is at will. So I am allowed to, actually, both of us are allowed to terminate that relationship for any reason, as long as it's not an illegal reason. So employers can terminate a relationship or change the conditions of employment for any reason that's not an illegal reason. Of course, illegal reasons would be, based on some protected category or protected class, like race or gender, or even now, with the most recent Supreme Court decisions, sexual orientation, gender identity, religion, etc. So in Texas, I can fire you for being a Republican, but I can't for being Black.
That was a good one. that was a good one.
What about being a Black Republican? Can I
Right.
fire you for being a Black Republican?
No, because that would be because of your race.
But what if you're just a Republican and you so happen to be Black? I can fire you because you're a Republican, but you just so happen to be Black.
Yes, that employer will probably get a lawsuit from that Black Republican, even if they're Black because they're a Republican.
So then, I still want to go back to the HIPAA laws. So is there in any way, even though the EEOC has said it's okay, everybody is saying it's okay, but I am still not wanting to get this shot. Can I even bring up like a HIPAA lawsuit? But doesn't HIPAA protect my privacy? Or what is HIPAA?
Oh, see, that's one of those questions I knew you would ask.
Oh,
HIPAA. What does HIPAA stand for? Somebody Google it. Anyway, so HIPAA is a privacy law, and Texas has its own equivalent of HIPAA. But for HIPAA to apply to you, you have to be one of the category of organizations that it applies to. So if you're not like a hospital, if you're a regular run-of-the-mill employer, it doesn't even apply. And so in this context, I would be, as an employer, I'd be requiring you to have a vaccine and to prove it to me, right? So I can ask you to show me your card. But I don't advise employers to keep a copy of your card. So if I look at your card and then know that you are vaccinated and allow you to come back, I'm not keeping any of your data. So it's not really a privacy concern. And there are already guidance that says that I can ask you to prove that you're vaccinated. So I don't think it applies. And even if it did, we have an exception within the law.
Oh, wow. So basically, we're saying employers can fire you. Well, employers can require the vaccine. And if you don't get it, you can potentially be fired.
Yes.
And while the question was, what does HIPAA stand for? Because we give knowledge out here. Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act.
Yes, thank you.
Created in, looks like one in 1996. Federal law that required the creation of national standards to protect sensitive patient health information from being disclosed without the patient's consent or knowledge. And I think a lot of times, especially during COVID, we saw this even more, where people were going to different stores and didn't want them to wear the mask. And they were saying that somebody telling them to put a mask on was violating their HIPAA laws. No, it wasn't. That's not what that law was there for. So I think that was one of the things I've heard too, is if my employer asks me to go get the vaccine and I have to tell them, then that's somehow violating my HIPAA protections or whatever.
I didn't realize it was 1996. I thought it was older than that.
This is one that I found, so it might be.
I don't know, because I was thinking it was older than that. So I think we've covered pretty much majority of, you answered the question. So, ladies, y'all want to expound some more?
Well,
I just wanted to say, going back to HIPAA also, for the people, the HIPAA violations, okay? The federal government has to bring the suit that your HIPAA violation, that it was even violated. Okay. So this is not a private lawsuit. You have to file a complaint with the federal government. The federal government has to pick up your claim. So please stop running around here. Just forget the word HIPAA. Okay. Just shut it down. Okay.
I agree. And if you're not talking about your doctor, it just doesn't apply, So yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I was going to ask, just to make sure that we were clear on this. So in Texas, an employee, I'm going to say it this way, because I've had people call me and say, can I decline my employer asking me to get a vaccine? I'm not an employment lawyer. I've only dibbled and dabbled in employment law. But what I told them was, absolutely, you can decline it. You sure can, because it's America. In America, you can do whatever your heart's desires. You can do whatever you want to do. There's consequences to your choices, but if you want to decline that employer telling you to get a vaccine, you go right ahead. I would probably do it now before the fall when they take away that unemployment, those extras, but do whatever.
I would say look at that unemployment, the foreclosure, the eviction moratorium that's getting lifted. You might want to look into all of that. Might want to look into your bank account. And by any means, we're not discouraging anybody in any way. So I just want to make this disclaimer. We're providing this information because everybody is concerned. They are pushing the vaccine. Get vaccinated. Get vaccinated. I know our CEO of the company, he is very encouraging for us to get vaccinated. He's not forcing it, but I don't know if that time will come. But he's definitely making it known that he prefers for us to be vaccinated if possible. So we're just bringing you information that, yes, you can decline the vaccine, but you also need to check with your employer, too. Because I don't need anybody out here losing their job because we're still in a pandemic. But definitely check with your employer to see what their policies and procedures are. Again, as it has been mentioned, Texas is an at-will state. So you can be fired. That's pretty much what I got on my end. Y'all got any, want to delve in, talk about some more stuff? Did we leave out anything?
Wanted to say, we're talking about whether your employer can mandate the vaccine, and they can, but there's just so many reasons why you want to get the vaccine. Like, no one should have to force you to get the vaccine if you don't have a reason not to. So of course, it's everyone's prerogative what they put in their bodies. So if you have a reason why you don't want to get it, we understand, and that is your prerogative. But I mean, I know I would like to get to the beach in a different country very soon. I'd like to be able to travel. I would like to be able to get around people I know without a mask and feel comfortable. I'd like to be able to eat inside restaurants without a mask and feel comfortable and not feel like I'm going to catch it. Now, I mean, all of the studies and everything, getting the vaccine it's not 100% effective. You might still get it. Having the vaccine, you probably won't get the most severe consequences of COVID, but you actually still could. So it's not 100%. But it just allows so many things. You can see grandma or grandbaby. You can travel, you can go to work and get a paycheck, So I just think that rather than a stick, it's a lot better if people make that choice on their own. And I think that there are a lot of reasons why a person should take the vaccine. The other thing, some interesting things that I heard today on a COVID update. So the Seychelles is the most vaccinated nation on Earth. I think they're upwards of 70% of their people are vaccinated. They didn't use Moderna and Pfizer. I think they used AstraZeneca and Sinopharm. I think that's the one from China. I think that's the correct name. So they use those to vaccinate. They're actually now having a new surge in the Seychelles with 70% vaccination. I mean, that's close to herd immunity, and they're still seeing a surge. And it might be a different variant. It might be that people are getting it, but not getting the most severe consequences of COVID, but they're still getting it. And that's what, well, I should point out, the people that are getting it are the people who did not get vaccinated in this new surge, or they're the people who took one dose. They're not completely vaccinated. So they took one dose and didn't go get their second dose. Those are the people in this new surge who are getting the vaccine. So if you can get the vaccine and you don't have a reason that you shouldn't get the vaccine, you really should get it. The other thing is, if y'all remember last year at this time, I'm trying to remember when it is, it's May. I think we were probably about to have like our first surge or second surge in Houston. And they kept telling us that in the fall, we would have another winter surge, right? And we're like, it can't get no worse than this. Look at New York and all this other stuff. And then the winter came and we had a surge. And it was like, wow, they really guessed this thing correctly. Well, if we don't reach herd immunity in the US, or if some states, because I heard today, like places like Alabama and Idaho, they're at like 20% vaccination on average for their population. If those places don't vaccinate, then you'll have another surge in the fall, and people who are unvaccinated will get it again. So a fall winter surge is still in our future. It's another reason that we should get the vaccine. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there.
I have a question though. Does anybody have any like wondering like what the long-term effects this can have? Because what I think about is like when you take certain medications, right? They tell you don't take this when you're pregnant. Well, how did they figure out that this affects pregnant people? Well, somebody or a group of people had to take it and it had to affect them. So I'm like, what if the current vaccine that everyone is being told to get has some long-term effects that nobody is really able to predict because it hasn't been on the market that long? Has anyone kind of thought about that? Like, what if, and I know it's not a live, I'm not a doctor, right? But I know it's not a live vaccine, so it's not a live culture. I do recognize that. But is anyone like concerned, like, hey, maybe this could affect like my eggs or sperm count, or maybe
Well, I
this
know
can
I heard
cause
something
cancer
about.
down the line?
Well, I did
Like,
hear something about how that they should have done a study because I do think about the long term effects as well too. But I did hear they did a study about women in our like our menstrual cycles because they didn't do a study to where women, maybe certain women are starting to see that they're bleeding longer since they've had the vaccine on certain ones. So now they're trying to do a study to look at that because that wasn't done. They never did a study on women during their menstrual cycles or like during that hormonal period to see what happens. So I did read on that.
And I've also did just a little bit of research because I've been trying to keep track on how the vaccine, like new research is they're finding out because they're still monitoring people as people get vaccinated. And it's like when they were doing the clinical trial, they restricted certain groups to not be able to be a part of the clinical trial, like people with autoimmune diseases and things like that. So if you excluded a certain group and you don't really have a lot of research to support how this vaccine is going to affect this part of the population, are we not concerned that maybe telling this group of people to get it without them being a part of the clinical trial may be concerning just a little bit? I mean, because I'm all about do whatever makes you feel safe. And I don't want to be like one of the, I'm not getting the vaccine because I don't want to get it because that's Democrats, okay? Like, I'm not that person. And I'm not the person that it's the mark of the beast, it's in the Bible. But I wonder long term if this has any effects on an individual's health because it hasn't been out that long. And anybody that knows anything about medicine is kind of like, you don't want to buy the first iPhone. It's always like when the new iPhone comes out, you wait till they perfect it a little bit before you go out and get it, because there's always some bugs, some things they need to get out. So
I think I fully agree with you. I think that I always tell people it's a personal decision. You have to do whatever research you need to do. I know I'll say it. I'm vaccinated. I'm vaccinated because for me, if I need to step out and take this risk to get us back to some sort of normalcy, to get us back to a place where our economy could flourish, I'm blessed that I never missed a paycheck. I never missed a day of work. My savings account never dwindled. It increased, right? And so I don't know what it's like to be waiting on a paycheck from the government. I don't know what it's like to be having eviction letters coming to me every 2 days. I also don't know what it's like to lose a loved one due to COVID. I didn't want to have the mental strains that come with not seeing anybody, right? I'm single. I live in Houston. My parents live somewhere else. And I did not want to say, I'm going to work and I'm giving my parents something and I kill them and I never get to see anybody else again. So for me, there was personal decisions that I needed to make, that if 25, 30 years from now, I am one of those statistics, I'm one of those statistics to make it better for someone else. Because to me, the mental toll that this was taking on our country was a lot. And I think that's why you see the killings going up. I think there's a lot of things that are going on that when you go and isolate people, this is what happens to them. And so for me, the risk was worth what was going to happen. Plus, I know I serve something greater than science. So for me, I trusted God and I said, this is a faith walk. And if I have to take it for other people who can't take it, then I will.
Mine was selfish. I mean, of course, I believe in God, but mine was selfish. I had COVID. And, I had COVID for my birthday, and it took me out for an entire week. And I said, I never want to feel like that again. And that's why I decided to get the shot, because I'm like, if I get it again with, being vaccinated, I hope it won't be as bad as having it during that week, because that was worse than the flu. That was horrible experience. It was a lot. So, and then I also wanted my mother and my aunts and stuff. I'm getting around them more. They're all older. They're like late. They're all pretty much like late 60s, early 70s. And I want to keep them around long. And I did not want to put them at risk at all. So that's why I did it. But I mean, like you said, it's personal. It may affect me, 20 years down the line. But right now, I just know having COVID and that experience was just horrible. And I just didn't want to go through that again.
Yeah. I'm vaccinated. I had several struggles internally. I did not want to jump the line. So I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not on that list of people who should be able to get the vaccine right now. So I'm going to wait my turn. I also thought when we were still under a Trump administration, I was like, I don't trust anything that dude does. So I'm not touching this vaccine for another year. We'll let the rest of the guinea pigs take it first. But I was also, like so many other people, anxious all the time, right? Like when COVID first hit, I did not let my mother come in my house. I was feeling under the weather. It ended up not being COVID. She brought me soup. I said, you can leave it at the front door. Like I didn't open the door. Like that's how we were living for so long. And so when we finally, had something that could take us out of that and get us, move us forward, I was still not about it. But my mom is a nurse. She got the vaccine, and I was actually praising God that she got the vaccine. I was like, okay, because I've had people who lost their parents with COVID, and I didn't want that. And that's why I'm like, keeping my distance and hoping you keep your distance from everybody. But she got it and she was fine. And then my dad got it and he was fine. And so many people around me got it and they were fine. Fine, including, being knocked out for a day or two,
Yeah.
having a sore arm, feeling like you maybe have COVID because they gave, after the vaccine, but they lived. And I saw viral people in their 30s on ventilators, like I wasn't immune either. And I gained the COVID-10, not the COVID-19. So I was like, oh, maybe I can jump the line. Maybe I am obese. And I got my vaccine.
I use that argument too. I was like, I'm obese. I use that.
And now I'm on the patios listening to live music and having brunch.
Yes.
So
yeah, I have not gotten the vaccine, but I'm not against it. I think I'm waiting for the remix to come out. Just because I don't know. It's not, I understand where we were, but I also don't want to have a bunch of my friends die from cancer or die from other, not even cancer. I mean, because I've lost a parent to cancer, so I think that just sticks out to me. But I don't want to see my friends who want kids or want other things to have some issues down the line,
And
either.
time will tell. And it's just about, we are, despite what people may think, this is, a God-fearing show. I put
Right.
that out there. So we believe in God and we got to stay pray up. And it is what it is what it is.
And
So,
that's why I say, guys, that also, I kid you not, it is your own decision because I've prayed about it and I'm waiting to get peace with it. I'm not at
right.
peace with it yet. Okay. Every time I say, you know what, I'm gonna sign up, I'm gonna go get it. I see a new article about something new that they didn't found, like I saw the menstrual cycle thing and I saw the blood clot thing. And so it's your own personal decision, guys. So please don't judge me. I'm not judging the people who got the vaccine. I'm not judging people who don't get the vaccine. Okay?
I will just say this, Sam, that you might have peace, and then when you sit in the chair, your peace might fleet away. Okay, because mine was fleeting. I was sitting in the chair the first shot, and I was ready to go, and the lady turned to go and get the little alcohol wipe, and she came back around and said, "Hold on." Because everything in me said run from it. And I had to go ahead and rebuke those spirits because I was like, I know I got peace.
Right.
But in that moment, right before that shot went into my arm, I was like, but do I? And so I think that I was praying up, ready to go. Probably fasted that day. And then I was like, wait a minute, not ready.
So you're never gonna be ready. Just whenever God speaks to your heart, if it ain't right now, do what is best for you. But we have come to.
But I just know that when everybody knows when the Holy Spirit speaks to you.
Yeah.
Okay, when it's like it's gonna be okay.
peace.
Like when I had my surgery, I put that thing off. I tell you, when I had my fibroid surgery, I was so tired. I felt like a zombie every day, and I was just not gonna get surgery because I was really reluctant because I knew people who passed away from surgery, all that. But when I prayed about it, I got peace with it. I was all right with it. So I just need to get okay with it at some point.
Right.
And
go ahead.
Sorry, if I could add one last thing, because I'm in good company. We prayed when COVID came. We prayed that he would take us through it.
Mm-hmm.
And we prayed for a solution to it. So I always have to tell myself that, if I prayed for the solution and the solution is here, right? Like, I think that all things are created by God, and that can include the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
The people that were working on the vaccine, whether they are believers or not, could have been given, what they needed to create that. And that is the solution to the problem that we pray for so often and around the world. So if we prayed for the solution and the solution came, I was like, you know what, I'm going to take it. So, but I agree with you that it's up to everybody, because with that Johnson & Johnson, once the shot is in you, it's in you. If they tell you later, you can't take it out. So to each person, you got to get right with it.
Well, all right, ladies. This was a great discussion. Y'all know we done went over, right? But it was worth it. So this is the part of the show, Abby, you've been on here before, where it's going to be a rest my case. So, you just rest anything. I'm going to start with Sam. What you going to rest today?
Okay, so I am going to rest people judging people for whether they got the vaccine or not. Y'all, most of the people are not doctors, okay? You have whatever job that you have or profession that you have. Stay in the lane in which God has placed you in, which is not a scientist nor a doctor. Even if you are a doctor or a scientist, you don't know what personal struggle or what personal health issue that person may have or what they may be going through. So stop trying to put your logic on trying to tell people that they shouldn't get the vaccine because of this and that, or they should get the vaccine. This is their body, Y'all do all these marches and things talking about equal rights and women, our bodies are our decision. Well, guess what? Everybody has their own body and it's their decision. So stop judging people and harassing people and putting mean stuff on social media. It's annoying, especially because you don't know what you're talking about most of the time. Just saying.
Taria, what's your rest my case?
Piggybacking on Sam, I have two, so I'm gonna do a 1A and 1B. 1A, piggybacking on Sam, do research for yourself, and whatever your research gives you, then that's how you make your decision. And we said the same thing when it comes to voting and all the other things that you do in your life. So research and find in your life, and if you pray to God, wait for your answer, and then make the decision that's best for you and your household. And don't worry about someone else's household, because if you worry about someone else's household, you're not taking care of your own. Okay, and speaking of households, why are we having lions and tigers and bears on my?
Oh my! And listen, we made it to the national news. I heard it again on CBS News. David Muir on ABC mentioned it too. We went viral. Houston went viral.
If you haven't seen it, go search for Houston Tiger
King.
In Houston neighborhood. Okay, some couple has a tiger, and now we know that the guy was on probation for murder. And or out on bond, $125,000 bond for murder. And he had this tiger walking around the Houston neighborhood. And inside the house was a monkey. What are we doing, people?
That's the Wizard of Oz.
That's what we do in the pandemic. We bring the zoo to our house.
They blame the Tiger King.
So you told people to worry about their own household. And in that same breath, you over here judging this man because he wants to have a pet tiger and a pet monkey.
No, we're judging him because he let it loose. It got loose in the neighborhood. We would not have known.
It just got loose because it's a tiger. Okay?
Well, we don't keep tigers.
Well, in Harris County, you cannot. He was
in Fort Bend County.
Well, okay? Because I was saying Houston,
no, that's
Texas.
a little bit out in the country.
And was he in Fort Bend? Was it actually Fort Bend?
Well, I know it was Katie.
Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. Sam just gave this beautiful speech about how the vaccine, you got to make sure, because she didn't want to lose nobody if you take the vaccine too soon. I don't want to lose my life because I'm walking down the street trying to check my mail and a tiger comes and gets me.
Well, we got alligators loose too on the freeway.
That wouldn't happen.
That was last week.
That wouldn't happen to you because you know what? You would see the tiger and you'd be like, that's a tiger. And you run back in your house.
Abby, what is your rest my case?
I don't feel like it makes sense after the tiger, but my rest my case is about masks. I feel like we need to stop pretending with masks. I still wear my mask and I'm fully vaccinated, but I wear it for other people so they don't feel alone, because they should wear their mask if they're not vaccinated. But I think people should stop pretending. Like, if you're going to wear the mask, wear it right. Put it up here, change it every day. Let it match your outfit. Wear it with pride. But yeah, that's my rest my case. People
back up a case too. Just because you're wearing a mask don't mean you got to be right here with it.
We still social distancing.
Yes.
Can we keep some stuff from the COVID? I think people should wear masks all the time. And
I'm
I do
considering
think
it.
I do think people should stay 6 feet away from me all the time. Okay.
I can keep
And
that.
work from home. Yes. Don't and stop inviting me to stuff. Let's keep these virtual sports
And I think
and
Abby
virtual
brought up a
parties.
good point. If change your mask like you change your underwear. If you
Oh,
don't
they
wear
not
underwear
doing
three
that.
times,
That mask be so nasty.
Right, I wash mine all the time.
They ain't
Look, I
doing that.
still mask. I'm not even gonna lie. You know how they have the little disposable mask? I don't take one. I take 5. Every location I go to, I grab masks. That is me. If you have a box of masks, I did get about 5 or 6 of them every location. I do.
I
I still
carry
mask.
masks for other people here.
So and they
you know
all.
you can order your own, Brandy.
I do that too. But as I'm out, I need to listen. I keep masks everywhere. They are in all my. I got them in the house, on doors, in the cars, everywhere. But so I have a rest my case today. I have 2.
Praise the Lord.
So one, I think. Well, first of all, stop trying to cancel Liz Cheney because she stood up against the GOP and said Trump was wrong. He caused the riot. They need to not try to get her out. She does not need to be out. That is my rest my case because they're getting ready to have a vote on Wednesday to try to get her out of her leadership, and I am not against. I am totally against that because Republicans stood up. She stood her ground. She had consistency, and she called Trump out, and they trying to get rid of her.
Baby, they about to call it G19. You used to watch Scandal?
Right. And
You
then
know
my
that's
other rest
fine.
my case is it's a plug. On Saturday, May 15th, is my virtual gala for the Houston Lawyers Association. It's free to the public, so everybody tune in. I'm the gala chair. Just want to let y'all know I've been working hard. So
Y'all, please tune in to this gala.
tune in.
Brandy has been verbally abusing all of us about this gala. Please tune in. It has made her crazy. She has worked
I've been
hard.
doing good.
Tune in. She has not been doing well.
I have. I did better than last
You
time.
did well with managing the gala, but her attitude,
Well, I actually put it all together myself, so it might be a little bit. But
right? She's been stressed, y'all.
however, thank y'all for tuning in. It was a great show. Again, we went over. So, Sam, are we following you today?
You can follow me at I don't
It's
know.
already on the screen. Don't worry about it.
Boom. Okay. Follow me on the screen. That should let you know you really don't want to follow me. But my birthday coming up. So you
Yes,
can
her
follow
birthday
me
is on
and
May
ask me for my
16th.
cash app. So,
Right. Do cash it because her birthday is May 16th.
Happy early birthday.
thank you. Y'all didn't sing me no birthday song. It's okay. We won't rehash. It's
We
fine.
gonna see you ready. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Teresa's lips not
Happy birthday, Tari. Where we gonna fight you on Sam's birthday?
I don't know, but I'm thinking about this Cash App. Why have we never put our Cash Apps out here before?
We
Did
just need
you
a no
say
further
since
questions
COVID,
cash
your
app.
savings increased? You said that.
Yeah,
Right, you
Increase.
said your savings increase.
Shout increase. Increase.
Amen.
But it needs to increase even more, okay? Because I got a godchild during this quarantine, and so she's expensive. But no, they can follow me on Instagram at Simply Being Tea, and then if you follow me there and you just want to sow into my ministry, aka my godchild's ministry, DM me, and I'll tell you about my Cash App, so you can bless her and bless
Are
me.
all y'all godparents? Raise your hand if you have a godchild.
I don't claim mine.
You didn't have to say that.
Oh,
You did
well.
not have to say that.
But I will.
Because
My,
I'm the only person who's never been asked to be a godmother, so I think I'm a terrible person.
I just got asked during the quarantine.
oh,
But-
congrats.
But I'm actually cool with it though. So don't.
Yeah, don't
friends
speak
are
that over
rushing
your life. Well, you know, my baby's having a baby. My good cousin having a baby, so I'm about to take that over. Like that's gonna be my child in September. So,
Oh Lord.
Abby, where can they follow you?
You can follow me on IG at Abby, the problem solver.
Abby, please call me. I need you to solve my problem. I got so
And
many.
you can
No
follow me.
problem.
Her.
You can follow me on Instagram at brand_Janae. And you can follow No Further Questions at NFQ Pod on Twitter. At No Further Questions on Instagram. I'm sorry, No Further Questions on Facebook. And at No Further Q on IG. So we are. I think we out because we getting signed out.
Over and out, Roger.